Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe. Ronda Rousey attacked by the Bella's heel turn. I'm Ollie Davis. This is Luke Owen. Welcome to the Raw Review edition of WrestleRamble, which is now sponsored by Beer 52, where our UK viewers only, can click the link in the video description below, which is www.beer52.com/WrestleTalk to get a free case of beer, of craft beer. We'll be trying one of these delights, you know, in the early afternoon, a bit later on in the show.
We've really become cultaholic.
Yeah, drinking in the day. Delinquents they are.
They are delinquents.
But these look delicious.
They are delicious.
More on that later. So Ronda Rousey, it was a packed episode of Raw.
Wasn't it just?
Yeah. I was one of our website writers, Andy. You've got the same hair as me.
Well, actually, I was going to say, I wanted to say this earlier when you were in the office, but you got the same hair as me. And I said to you over the weekend, by the way, I'm getting some hair stuff done. So
yeah, I was getting a haircut too.
Well, you didn't tell me that. Like, I told you in advance so you wouldn't get a haircut at the same time.
Fakador's just sent me a picture. He's got the same haircut.
How has this happened all at the same time, just after Super Showdown, where John Cena also had a new hairstyle?
This is outrageous. We can't have this. We're going to have a hair versus hair versus hair match.
Well, it's about time, really.
Yes.
But how will we decide this hair versus hair versus hair match?
Well, it's bound for glory this Sunday. Let's put it all on the line. My hair versus your hair versus Fakador's hair. The losers have to shave their hair off. This hair. No other hair.
Well, this is all the hair that I have, obviously.
This is our real hair.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's itchy hair. Jesus.
I'm looking forward to an hour of it.
Ronda Rousey was turned on. This is an angle we thought would happen at Super Showdown, but it didn't. It took place here. It was a rematch, a 6-woman tag rematch from Saturday of Ronda teaming with the Bellas. They hugged when they came out. They're all good friends. All women are, friends. It seems. They're either friends or bitter enemies. And the Riot Squad. It was against the Riot Squad. Really cute bit at the start where Liv Morgan was in and Brie Bella was in.
I thought Liv was the standout of this match. I thought she was awesome.
It's weird how WWE always make you more interested in the thing they're not pushing. Like, I'm not interested in Ronda Rousey versus any of the Bellas.
No.
But the Riot Squad, I was already a fan. I think Sarah Logan has always been very good. Ruby Riott is very, very good. And Liv Morgan has improved so much since she was effectively the butt of a lot of people's jokes, as included sometimes at the start of this year. Mm-hmm. But the last couple of weeks, with what happened, which was Brie Bella accidentally kicking Liv in the face and knocking her out, the character work was never Liv's problem.
No.
She had that down, but she's gotten better in the ring as well.
It was kind of weird as well because the match, so whoever agented the match, whoever sort of worked with all 6 girls on the match, knew that's what we should kind of build this down between this Brie Bella and Liv Morgan's stare off, and Liv can really play into it in her character, and she didn't. She was freaking out throughout the match trying to get to Brie. But the commentators were not playing that out whatsoever. Like, Michael Cole was like, there was that incident a couple of weeks ago, and then quickly moved past it, as in, don't talk about it. Absolutely do not talk about it. But the whole match was structured around it.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like you only get this part if you follow WWE to an obsessive extent, which we do.
Yeah.
It might be the Mark Henry arm lift, I'm calling it. And that is in that famous segment where the whole crowd were chanting for Daniel Bryan and you had all the ex-WWE champions in the ring. Mark Henry just lifted Daniel Bryan's hand in an attempt to cut it off. And then he lifted the hand, then he does that. Stop cheering now. Let's get on with the scripted segment that's here. Let's not capitalize on someone who's organically over. This was like WWE going, okay, we've acknowledged it. Can we move on now?
Yeah.
And we're like, no, we want to keep playing with the thing that happened.
Yeah. But I thought this was... so I haven't actually seen the Super Showdown match that they had, but from what I can gather, Liv Squad didn't win.
Liv Squad did not win, no.
And the Bellas and Rousey won.
Well, in quite spectacular fashion, me and Fakador said in the Saturday review that at least they protected Ruby. Because what happened is both Morgan and Logan were submitted at the same time in a double armbar by Ronda. It's a cool visual, great way to get Ronda over. But, not many other people. But, at least you got Ruby there, and then you can kind of maybe build like a Ruby-Ronda match. I am very much into.
Well, that's what me and Fakador were saying, like in the build-up to Super Showdown, and like in both of our predictions, we were like, well, it would just kind of make sense if Ruby won or got a big win here to like cement herself as a new contender for the Women's Championship once you've got the Nikki Bella match out of the way at Evolution.
You're thinking with this, Luke.
You
got to think with this. You got to think with your bottom.
I was thinking.
That's where the WWE booking comes from.
I was thinking too far ahead. Yeah. I was future-proofing my booking. So what happened here then?
So yeah, Ruby, because Ronda she couldn't get in 3 arm bars at once, so she had to do it to Ruby. So Ronda tapped out Ruby, and then so the match was nothing. It was all about the post-match, which built on.
Before we get there though, the finish, and a few people have pointed this out. The finish did feature another Brie Bella botch.
Oh, I missed that.
So the finish was that Ronda had Ruby in the armbar, like getting ready to do it, and Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan both tried to dive in, and Nikki was there and she stopped Liv Morgan, but Brie Bella was out of position for when to stop Sarah Logan, so Sarah Logan had to take a dive on her own and go facepalm. So essentially it looked like Brie Bella attacked her with telekinesis because she fell over, like Sarah Logan fell over, and then Brie Bella was there to like pull her out the ring.
I am not against giving Brie Bella a telekinesis gimmick. I don't like. It's not the worst idea that they could use.
I mean, she doesn't have to hit people then.
Yeah, she can just do it with her mind.
Yeah.
Little winks. Brie mode. Certainly a lot safer, that gimmick. So that's over. It's all about the post-match. Ronda's celebrating with the Bellas, but the Bellas turn on Ronda and they push her gently and they kick her gently and they throw her into the... Like, they're doing everything gently. Thank God for Ronda and her amazing selling, because she just she gets a little push and she propels herself into steel steps.
She was making this beatdown work.
Yeah.
And I actually thought it was really effective due to Ronda's selling, and the crowd really bought into it as well, because the crowd were really behind the Bellas, as most crowds usually are. But as soon as this turn came in, they did start to boo them. They always get a pop when they come out. This did actually turn the crowd on the Bellas, so that was a successful turn. And a lot of people, because I assumed this was going to happen at Super Showdown, but given that The Undertaker and Kane did the exact same thing in the main event, that'll probably be why they saved it for Raw instead, so you didn't do the same angle twice. I mean, you've still done the same angle twice, but it's on different shows, so it doesn't count that way.
It's a whole 2 days. There's like 3 sleeps in between them.
Everyone's already forgotten. The Super, despite the fact we got a recap of it, everyone's already forgotten that happened.
And a lot of, not just recaps, but rematches on this show. Super inspiring and, inspired in general. But so it was effective in that the crowd reacted and turned against the right people, and that's a testament to how good Ronda is.
Yes.
Her selling is for someone. Well, I think it actually ties in because she has been beaten up in real IRL. She's very effective of getting those emotions through on her face.
Absolutely, yeah.
So yeah, it's really good. And when she enters meme mode, she's really good at that.
Yeah.
I just wish they didn't have this smiling person in between. But my problem is, and it's not that this was predictable because the Nikki Bella versus Ronda Rousey rumours were leaked ahead of Evolution. Like, that's probably where they're going, and that's been reported on for at least a month, 6 weeks.
It just made sense for why the Bellas were back.
Yeah, it's like, that's what gave it away.
Yeah.
You can't just suddenly say, oh, here are the Bellas, and they're best friends with Ronda.
Yeah.
And we're not going to explain that.
I was going to say, it was set up from day dot. From that SummerSlam moment, it was like, cool, so it's Ronda and Nikki at Evolution then.
Yeah, so it's not the fault of stuff getting out. It's a badly told story with Deus Ex Machinas.
Well, I mean, you say it's a badly told story. Well, it's not a great told story. I'm not saying it's a great told story.
It's a story.
It is a story.
With one great character.
And I'll be honest, and like, sometimes that's all you can ask for with this company, is that it is a story. And it's come from there. It is a story, and sometimes that is all you can ask for.
It was a thing.
It is more than Ember Moon has.
I thought she had a great match, though. I really liked the Ember Moon match. So this was good. It was exciting. A turn happened. It was a thing that happened, and it elicited an emotional response. But really, there should be more there. There should be more substance to it, and that's what kind of got me down about it. It's just like I wasn't invested in this relationship. I always thought this was going to happen, and I'm not into the Bellas to make any of this work. I'm into Ronda, but she does have her problems the way she's presented. So it's not like I'm unequivocally into her.
Yeah, totally.
So this is a good thing that happened, but overall.
What I would say about Ronda as well, in terms of like how this Chicago crowd were super into Ronda, and most places are super into Ronda because she does feel like a legit star on this roster. This crowd were so ready to rival Seattle in terms of booing your local sports team. Like, it's almost become like every town now wants to try and rival Seattle.
That's great.
And that is great. And Chicago was so ready to do it. Because this is Chicago, a very, very proud town and city. Very, very ready to do this. As soon as Ronda's music hit, they were like, oh no, forget about that. Hey, Ronda's here!
Well, yeah, because Elias, now he's not with Kevin Owens, he's back in that mold of opening women's division segments where he just does a gig in the ring and then someone interrupts him and there's no payoff to that.
Absolutely not.
Elias just Thanoses.
He does. And Michael Cole goes, oh, another Elias segment interrupted.
Yeah.
By some, oh no, I like this person.
Yeah. But yeah, because Elias he made a World Series joke at the Cubs' expense.
Oh, I mean, I've just written your local sports team.
Yeah, it was a local sports team. And the crowd, it looked like they were trying to... But nope, cut it off with Ronda. Yeah. I thought considering what happened last week, why wouldn't you try and...
I quite liked it, though, because I think it really, it actually, the pop for Ronda was probably bigger off the back of it. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, it did. For once, it did transfer that heat to Ronda, which isn't what happened last week, even though the pop was a lot bigger and more negative. Yeah. But should we drink some beer? So thanks very much to our sponsors, our new sponsors, Beer 52. The WrestleRamble is... I've just dipped in.
You just dipped in. You get Can I recommend one?
Go on then.
Can I recommend? I'm going to recommend you this one, this Hoptopod. And the reason I recommend this is because I am a Beer 52 subscriber. I have been for a number of years. If you listen to the WrestleRamble podcast... Should
I start opening it while you tell me?
Yes, you will know the fact that I'm a big, big fan of Beer 52. And I got this box quite recently, and I had this beer over the weekend, and it was delicious. And... so with Beer 52, not only do you get the beers, you also get a magazine that tells you about these beers. So would you like me to tell you about this beer?
Let me taste a bit first.
Because you're not very... well, you and I have been to craft beer places.
I'm a wine guy.
And you often go... you always say to me, what do I want?
Yes, because I do like something, I just don't know what it is.
You do like that is an IPA, and you do like an IPA.
Oh, it's fragrant.
It is.
Don't tell me. Let me see if I can get the notes. While I'm getting notes, you say the link.
Sorry, I was reading the magazine. You can get your free case of beer, and you get the magazine and a delicious snacks, which is these love corn little things, which is delicious. And you just need to go to beer52.com/WrestleTalk. That's beer52.com/WrestleTalk and claim your free case of beer. But it is for UK viewers only.
This is good.
It's nice, isn't it?
This is good. It's fruity. So I'm gonna say it's almost like a candy fruit. I'm gonna say it's like a cherry, note.
Well, it doesn't actually give you that bit of detail. Okay. What it says: a combination of basic and light caramel malt gives light and dry body, supported by a strong tropical and fruity aroma. With strong American influence, it uses high-quality hops from Yakima Valley, including Mosaic, Simcoe, and Chinook.
And it's an India Pale Ale.
And I love an IPA, mate. Big fan of IPA. That's from Dogma Brewery.
So yeah, now it's 1:20 on a Tuesday, and we're drinking, and this is now our life.
It is.
What a bad.
Oh, what a terrible life it is. This is why Cultaholic do it so often.
Yeah. So do you want to sip?
I do actually. Yes,
because I did backwash it for you.
Thank you very much. That's what gives it extra flavour.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't promise that will be in when you order your free case.
Maybe we can sort that out with them. I will personally, drool over each beer.
Oh, that is nice.
It is lovely.
That is lovely. 6.5% though, so
let's hammer it down and get on with the rest of the Raw review.
Haha, it's a Raw review. Looking jacked, man.
Chug. Oh no, wait, no, we're back on air. Okay.
Drink responsibly.
So the Raw review, not the Raw review.
It is the Raw review.
Yeah, but the Raw kicked off. We're not reviewing the Raw review. We're not crazy meta. So Raw kicked off with Triple H coming out. He is not. You're just going to keep drinking that.
Well, it's open now. I don't want to waste it.
Okay, all right. Let's just be on watch for Luke here. So Paul comes out. Paul from back office, who Fagador always calls Triple H, but he wasn't in his back office clothes. He was wearing a t-shirt and a leather jacket.
He's got new merch to sell, has Paul?
Yes.
Have you noticed as well? This is going to sound like my conspiracy theory about Triple H that I often have. You know, when we were doing our predictions, where we said Triple H beating The Undertaker in their last ever match is the most Triple H thing that could ever possibly happen.
There was that kid at school where you would be playing and you're going back and forth and okay, yeah, it's your turn. You can try and beat me now. And as soon as they beat you, they go, no, I don't want to play anymore, and runs off.
Yeah.
I was that guy.
So to continue that conspiracy theory about Triple H, have you noticed he has got the coolest merchandise? He has always got the coolest T-shirts. Everyone else's T-shirts are so lame, and his T-shirts are always awesome.
You know why this is?
It's because he's Triple H and he gets to pick.
He draws them himself, doesn't he?
Oh, that's right, he does. He does it for NXT, doesn't he?
Yeah. I'm going to make the Undisputed Era guys such a cool draw. What are you doing in your room? Shut up, Stephanie. I'll be down for dinner in a bit.
Because Bobby Lashley will have a T-shirt that will may as well just say Bobby Lashley, professional wrestler or sports entertainer. He's nice in block letters, sometimes with a curve. Remember that Neville T-shirt? That was so awful. But Triple H's ones are really rad.
I want that T-shirt for Bobby Lashley now. I think that would perfectly suit his new character.
Yeah.
He's nice. He loves his sisters. But yes, Triple H is back and he walks out and he says, "Come on down, buddy Shawn." And Shawn Michaels comes down too. Michael Cole, because it's the start of Raw, they get a thunderous ovation. Mm-hmm. I want a little chart on the levels of ovation you can have. There's what an ovation, which is what the Shield and Roman Reigns get, and Triple H gets a thunderous ovation.
Well, of course.
I would say that's above. They come out, they talk about mountains.
Yeah, so Triple H says that it took them 25 years is a long time to climb a mountain, but they finally made it to the top, the mountain being beating The Undertaker. But when they got to the top, an avalanche happened, and all of a sudden, a recap video starts playing. He
motioned. He turned his body to look at the Titantron.
But we got a video package, which was handy for me because I haven't seen Super Showdown, with Triple H and Shawn Michaels being beaten up by Kane and The Undertaker at the end of Super Showdown, where there was meant to be all about respect. And then that leads into this promo that's all about respect.
So I like the respect angle. I think that's a fascinating, meaty way to take this feud. Thank you very much. Because you've got the whole thing with Shawn Michaels and he stayed retired because of respect for The Undertaker. There's an argument that maybe Undertaker doesn't respect this concept because he should be retired also because of the Roman Reigns match. But those arguments about respect really go out the window when at the start of that match at Super Showdown, Triple H uses his clout to go, it's no DQ now, and my buddy's going to interfere a lot. Mm-hmm. And granted, Kane is also at ringside, so it's not like Undertaker is outnumbered. But Triple H and Shawn cheated. Not cheated because it's a no DQ match, but they, unfair. This was gamesmanship tactics. Way more than the Brothers of Destruction. And it was all Shawn and Triple H ganging up together to beat The Undertaker. So all this talk about respect, it's like, but you, what happened?
What respect did you show?
Yeah, that's my thorn in this. And I did like it.
What I really liked about Triple H's promo here is he talks about respect, and he starts making allusions to I had the respect. Respect is when you come into a company and someone takes you under their wing, and he looks at Shawn Michaels, and he's like, respect is someone being your tag team partner and having your back for your entire career. And respect is, Shawn staying retired. And I really like this because he never explicitly said that that's what it was, but it was always these allusions to it. Like when he came into the WWF, Shawn Michaels, instantly took him under his wing and sort of taught him the ropes of how to get ahead in this promotion.
Well, he needed a driver. They needed someone sober.
They did. And it's worked out well for Triple H.
Is that all right?
And then Shawn Michaels starts talking about how the flight to Chicago was really long because they came back from Australia, which is a 20-odd hour flight. And he said that he's thought a lot about the last 8.5 years since he's retired. And he said that respect that he thought was there, turns out it never existed. And he said the plane door opened and he had 3 words in his head. And he looked at Triple H, and Triple H, as if reading his mind, said them. Are you ready? And he said, but it's not those words. These are words for the Brothers of Destruction at Crown Jewel. And then they unveiled their brand new DX T-shirts to get more merchandise.
Yeah, well, you've got to have these things in place.
Absolutely.
Same with the Shield. And then they challenged them for that Crown Jewel tag match, pose in the ring to DX's music, which I popped for. I popped for all of this. How can you not? It's Shawn Michaels and Triple H.
And I thought this was a really great segment. I really like this. And,
good opening.
And so that's built now to the DX versus Brothers of Destruction match at Crown Jewel, which was first reported by Dave Meltzer, who of course makes up all the stories in the Wrestling Observer newsletter.
Next up, we got Bobby Lashley versus Kevin Owens in, I must say, a fascinating match, which I adored. Because was it me and you talking about how I want to see Owens as a babyface?
And it might have been fake.
I'm there now. I'm there. I want to see Kevin Owens have a bit of a babyface run. Yeah, I think it was Fakador. And because I saw him in that ROH period when he came away from Scum, and he was still Kevin Steen, but he was doing things that were morally right, and it was just all the more awesome. And that's kind of what happened here. The Chicago crowd were really on his side. And at first I thought, man, they've booked that. They think that Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush are a babyface act. Lio Rush out there with a microphone now, getting people to cheer Lashley, just wearing a jacket without a shirt underneath, showing his chest, and you're like, you look like a douchebag. You're telling us to cheer, you douchebag, mate. Boo you. And this is what WWE thinks is a babyface. No wonder it's all going down the pan. Actually, not at all. They were positioning them as the heels.
It was all by design.
And I was like, I thought Bobby Lashley and Kevin Owens had a really decent match as well. Kevin Owens in particular with that senton over the top rope, the stunner.
Yeah, he was doing all the moves to pop the crowd. Yeah. And Bobby Lashley's role in this match was to just shut that down and go back to some headlocks or some, solid fundamentals to get the crowd against him. And you got Lio Rush on the outside going, ha, my man, Bobby Lashley. And cheer for him, Lashley.
Boo.
And it worked so well. I thought this was an ingenious double turn in the completely right place to do it as well.
Yeah.
Because this Chicago crowd was always going to be behind Kevin Owens in this scenario. If Kevin Owens had any match, this Chicago crowd was going to be really behind him. So this was a very smart place to do it, and a really interesting double turn. I thought it was fascinating.
But even when Lashley won with the Owens had a great kick out off the delayed suplex.
Yeah, he got the great near fall. Yeah.
But Lashley wins, and I was like, so is this just a 1 week thing because they're in Bizarro Land of Chicago? But then Lashley turns round, walks back down, and does a heel attack on Owens, putting his legs round the ring post and slamming his knees against the steel. Mm-hmm. And you're like, oh, holy moly.
Yep, and the commentators are there to tell you how to feel. They were all going this is not the Bobby Lashley that we know. Bobby Lashley has been saying that a change needs to come. It looks like that change has arrived. So they were putting over this as a new heel persona for Bobby Lashley. I thought it worked really, really well. And apparently WWE.com are putting over that Kevin Owens is now injured.
Yes.
And he sustained injuries from this.
He'll be back next week.
Well, yeah. But I thought, aside from the fact this is really fascinating, and it's going to be the first time we've seen Kevin Owens really in all of WWE, including NXT, because his only face moment he had was when he first debuted. And he had a match against Juice Robinson.
Yeah, for all of 2 hours.
Well, exactly, yeah, because he had the opening match against Juice Robinson, beat him quickly as a babyface, and then at the end of the night turned heel on Sami Zayn, 2 hours later. So we've only ever seen him as a heel. So this is our first chance to see Kevin Owens as a babyface in WWE. So that's interesting enough. But what's going to happen when Sami Zayn comes back?
Babyface tag team.
Could be a babyface tag team.
Finally. Well, that's still quite a long way off, it seems. I think that's WrestleMania by the earliest.
Oh, is it WrestleMania? I thought it might be the Rumble.
Might be Rumble. Yeah, because Sammy comes back, he runs into the ring, you get the stare off. Owens is a face now. Where does Sammy, where do his allegiances lie? And then they both unite together and fight off everyone. Oh my God. That's a great spot. Yes, Peter! But it's as great as it is. there's no substance to this? Like, where was the foreshadowing of the turn?
It was on social media.
Was it?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what they were saying in commentary, is that Bobby Lashley's been teasing this on social media.
For the last week?
Last 2 weeks.
Right.
So it's all been on social media. Someone actually tweeted me this morning. I'll be honest, I can't remember who it is. Do apologise. But they suggested that like a more interesting way to do this is for Bobby Lashley to have turned heel against, like, not against him, but essentially blame John Cena. Being like, I've come back here. John Cena's just shown up and stole my spotlight at Super Showdown. He was the one who did everything in that match. Where's my time?
Yeah, that would have... that could also fuel it. Maybe that's the reason they'll say next week, hopefully. But in terms of telling a story through physicality, with no promos, just like wrestling, this was exemplary.
Yeah, I thought this was really good.
And Lio Rush and Bobby continued that later. Finn Balor and Bayley are backstage, just in case there was any ambiguity over where their moral stance is. Lio Rush comes in and trashes Balor and Bayley.
And they say that they are too sweet, mockingly. I thought it was really, really good.
Very, very good.
They also announced that, so we're getting the World Cup. And the World Cup has been announced for a little while now, but it's never really been explained what the World Cup is. So we've now learned that the World Cup is a one-night tournament to determine who the best in the world is. Shrug shoulders, like, I've no idea. Like, what does that even mean? Apart from
I've heard that before.
CM Punk return confirmed.
Yes, it's happening. There you go.
Thank you very much.
But John Cena's going right in, so he doesn't have to qualify.
Yeah, they said there's going to qualify because there's 2 qualifying matches on SmackDown. There's Randy Orton versus Big Show and Jeff Hardy versus Samoa Joe. But John Cena, he's the greatest of all time. He doesn't need to qualify for the World Cup. His track record speaks for itself. So he's going straight in.
Yeah. I mean, that's totally the antithesis to what Cena's character is, where I'm humble, man. I'm going to earn every spot, even though I'm an all-timer.
Remember at WrestleMania? I can't get on the WrestleMania card. Yeah. I need to try everything I can to get on the WrestleMania card. He's like, nope, I'm just walking into this one. Well,
it shows how important the World Cup is. Going by the graphic as well, all the other people are Miz. Again, I wish they'd stop using that silhouette.
Yeah, and I think that... So there's 4 from Raw, 4 from SmackDown going into it. And so we know 2 of the ones from Raw from this show. And we're going to know 2 from SmackDown by the end of tonight.
Well, John Cena's a free agent.
But I think they're counting him as Raw because they announced it on Raw, I think. And I think that Lashley, Balor and Jinder are also part of this. At least those will seem to be the faces that were also teased in this World Cup thing.
You need anyone who's not American, really. Is Jinder representing Canada?
Depends on where they want the gimmick to be that week.
Then we got the Elias stuff, which fed into the Ronda Rousey and Bella's turn with the Riot Squad match. And then we got Finn Balor and Bayley taking on Jinder Mahal and Alicia Fox in not a Super Showdown rematch, but a Mixed Match Challenge rematch from the week before.
I think you'll find it's Team B&B versus Mahalicia. So get it right, mate. Otherwise, what's the point?
What is the point? That's a very existential question to this match.
We have seen for the last couple of weeks, Balor beat Jinder, Bayley beat Alicia Fox, and then as a team, they beat them on Mixed Match Challenge. So what happened here?
They beat them again.
They beat them again, yeah. And this is... I mean, you just want to talk about a one-sided feud that's going nowhere. Like, they keep building this as like, what a feud that's going on at the moment. Bloody isn't.
Yeah, it's a series of matches. It's a series of effectively the same match. And I have sympathy for WWE because whatever Sasha Banks' injury is, they haven't really given out many details. Nobody knows what's going on there. Banks and Bayley were presumably building towards something for Evolution. But now those plans have been scrapped because of Banks' injury. So they've thought, okay, let's make Balor and Bayley an act.
Yeah.
But that was 4 weeks ago now. That's fine for you're caught in a bind on the day of the show. Why you still use it? It's like no one's got, this was the placeholder that we were meant to change. No, and we've been doing it for the last month. Yeah, we were meant to change. Were you meant to change that, Steve? I'm sorry, guys.
No, I think Steve would be passing the blame to someone else. Like, no, Craig said he was going to do that.
Craig. It's Craig's on holiday this month. No one told
him. His out of office is on. So they won. It was a match. But do you remember when Bayley and Balor were like NXT's cutest couple in 2015, and everyone was I say everyone. There were quite a few people who were obsessed with like their are they going to like set them up as this sort of like couple, like the power couple of NXT? Because you've got Finn as the NXT champion and Bayley as the NXT women's champion. They're going to like set them up as like this big sort of power couple, and then it was only on the house show things.
It's interesting how you can really look back at NXT and give distinct eras. So, you've got like the Neville reign, then you've got that guy, name redacted. You've got the generic. You've got the Owens stuff, then you've got Balor, which was kind of the same time, Samoa Joe and Shinsuke, Bobby Roode and Drew McIntyre and Almas, that kind of bit. And now we're in the Ciampa era with Black, and Black was kind of the unfortunate prologue.
An undisputed era,
Undisputed era. But like, if you told me to go back and name eras of Raw or SmackDown,
well, it's been the Roman era for the last 5 odd years,
I guess so,
and then before that it was the Cena era for a decade plus.
Can't Roman get called up now? Can't he go somewhere else?
So, building on from storylines they've been telling for the last few weeks, Braun Strowman, Dolph Ziggler, and Drew McIntyre were all backstage because they've got their rematch of their Super Showdown 6-man tag, and Dolph's there trying to psych everyone up, going like, "Come on, guys, we can win this tonight." But
he's a cheerleader.
He is a cheerleader. Well,
his background.
Absolutely. And Drew sort of stands up and he says that he is sick of Dolph calling the shots, and he just sort of like goes like, "I mean, I might be mistaken, but we weren't pinned at Super Showdown." And then he said, you shouldn't worry about me. And then Braun gets up and he's like, you two are only here to watch my back and make sure that I become the Universal Championship, because that's best for all of us. Not sure how it's best for all of them.
I was confused by why. I get that if Braun isn't happy, he's going to kill people. So maybe that's the best for all of us is living.
Yeah, that's absolutely,
in Dolph and Drew's term.
Yeah.
So then we got... This might be my favourite, yeah.
I was about to say the exact same thing. This might be my favourite segment of the whole show.
When did you figure it out?
Too late.
Same
Far
here.
Too late. It was
Same here.
In fact, I can tell you when it was, and and as soon as I realised, I was like, I'm such an idiot for not realising.
I forgot that was a storyline. So, Baron Corbin comes out and he's like,
I loved this so
This was
much.
great. Like, all top to bottom, this was great. Baron Corbin, heel general manager. It's the Crown Jewel World Cup. There's going to be qualifying matches. So Baron's like, I'm a fair general manager. I put myself in a match to qualify. I'm not just going to put myself in there automatically. Cough, John Cena. So I'm up against the best that the world has to offer.
He scoured all the corners of the planet to find the best competitors from around the world. And it was funny as well, because previously he was walking backstage, and Heath Slater comes up to me and he's like, "Hey man, I'd really like a spot in that Battle Royal so I can get a crown jewel." And Baron Corbin was like, "You're no good. Like, you're rubbish. You're not going in." And he walks off. In my head, I was like, there's going to be some NXT surprises in this. It's going to be. I thought to myself, this is going to be a genuine battle royal, and there's going to be some NXT guys in there, and there's going to be a big thing. And I was like, it's not main roster call-up, but it's going to be this sort of big, wow, look at this guy. He's qualified for the World Cup. I didn't see this bit coming, but as soon as it did, I loved it even more than my initial NXT call-up wish.
Well, I didn't think it was going to be. I just thought it was going to be Apollo Crews.
Like a ring full of
no NXT.
Well, I
people.
thought it was a ring full of dorks and some NXT guys.
I just thought it would be dorks, and it was dorks in a different way. It was non-contracted dorks. They were enhancement talent, and they each had a stereotypical country gimmick.
Oh my god, it was so funny.
Yeah, so
this was great.
Generic luchador got a big crowd because he kind of looks like El Generico.
Yep.
Or maybe it was a local wrestler. There was a Belgian guy who was a chef.
The Belgian waffler.
Yes. And then it comes to like this guy in an all-over gold body.
It's Conquistador.
It's Conquistador, yeah.
I got so excited. I was like, what a great way to like relive that gimmick of Conquistadors. And the commentary were even saying like, who is Conquistador this time? And they like named the original Conquistador. Said like, or is it Edge and Christian when they were pretending to be the Conquistadors during their feud with the Hardys? Is it the Hardys during that same feud when they were pretending to be Conquistadors? Could have been Christopher Daniels, who did play the Conquistador on TV once.
They didn't say that one.
No, they didn't say that one. I mean, I've written there, like, seriously, the Conquistador is back. This is amazing.
But he didn't get that much of a pop.
No.
Which was weird, because they set it up for a big pop, but it was only a mild pop.
The commentators popped more than anyone else does. But I did like, they said There's a guy from Luxembourg who's got like a sash that says Luxembourg, so you know where he's from. And it's either Michael Cole or Corey Graves goes like, I think JBL lost to that guy on a house show once.
Nice.
Which I thought was really, really funny. And then Corey's like, I've seen a lot of these guys on YouTube. They're really good.
Yeah.
So, amazing.
So you've got all these guys. The match starts. The gimmick is Baron's going to easily beat them all.
But they all bundle on him.
Yeah, so you're like, okay, that's another fun twist on the match. Meanwhile, Conquistador just gets out the ring and sits down and starts like having a sit down outside.
That was when I worked out that Conquistador was winning.
I thought, oh, he's just... So in my mind, given WWE's history, I thought, okay, they're doing a lazy Mexican gimmick. That's not me.
No.
That's me thinking someone else is racist. But, credit to them. They didn't do that.
Well, that was when I worked out. I was like, cool, so Conquistador was winning, and it's going to be a big reveal of who it is. Such an idiot did not think at this point who it could be.
I didn't even think that. I thought Conquistador was going to get in after Baron Corbin had it won, pop the crowd, but then Corbin heel eliminates him as well.
Like Santino in the Rumble.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So all the country jobbers beat up Baron, but Baron fires back with the strength of Braun Strowman, chucking them all over the ring, eliminates them all. He celebrates, but in gets Conquistador. The crowd are like, yay, and they should have gone see. And then you think, okay, well, I thought Baron's just going to throw him out. No. Conquistador hits a German suplex that looks very familiar.
Well, you say, I'm such an idiot. Maybe it was too early. Maybe I hadn't had a cup of coffee and I was like, it's not Brock Lesnar, is it?
Chris Jericho.
Oh, is that what you thought it was Jericho?
No. As soon as he popped those hips, I was like, that's Kurt.
No, as soon as he hit German suplex, I've been so conditioned to think that's a Brock Lesnar thing. I was like, is that Brock Lesnar? I was like, he's far too small to be Brock Lesnar. And then he hits the angle slam, and then my brain, I was like, oh, it's Kurt. That makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
And then Kurt eliminates him, and I genuinely thought for a moment, they're going to keep this going for a couple of weeks. Of like Baron Corbin wanting to know
that would be
who
fun,
Conquistador is. And all the crowd know, and everyone else knows but Baron Corbin. And they could really play this off for a couple of...
Good.
But he takes the mask on, reveals that it's Kurt Angle. He's part of the World Cup. I thought this segment was absolutely awesome.
Yeah, it was really good.
Made me laugh so much.
So Kurt's walking backstage afterwards, and Charlie's wants a word with him, and he goes, "Hey, I'm still on vacation."
Did you see his wife's tweet?
No.
She so they posted up WWE posted up this video on their Twitter feed. She quote retweeted it going like, "You said you were just going out for some milk." Great stuff.
I agree, though. I think that would... Because we've got quite a long time till Survivor Series. Well, 5 weeks. So you could at least have 2 weeks of comedy build before you go serious.
Yeah. But it's Crown Jewel. You need to build that, mate. You need to be super serious for that.
Well, it could be... Well, you can unveil him as Kurt before the Saudi Arabia show, just in case you don't want to confuse the prince too much, do you?
You could have done it as like a contract signing.
I've got a question for you and the Swaff Nation.
Mm-hmm.
What did Kurt wear better? This, the gold body gimp suit, or the shield vest cosplay?
Well, I thought he looked a bit sad in the shield getup.
Yeah.
He didn't look as sad in this one, so I'm going to go with the Conquistador.
I'm going Conquistador too. Yeah.
Should we put a poll up?
Definitely.
I mean, we won't remember to put it, but we'll say that there's a poll above our heads.
Then we got Ember Moon versus Nia Jax, and at first I was like, I don't really care about this because I'm not invested in their friendship. That Ember Moon brought Nia Jax back a couple of weeks ago. That's all that's there, really. There's no actual proper friendship. It hasn't been built up in any other stories. But they had kind of like a shake before the match. Respect, we're friends, we're just going to see who the better one is. And they took it to each other. Yeah. Like, this is what I want to see from women's wrestling, not standard WWE guff.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, Nia just sort of tossed her around and, tossed her hither and yonder. But it all sort of heads outside and there's like some scuffle on the outside. And then Ember gets back in just before the 10 count and Nia Jax gets counted out and Ember Moon sort of celebrates in the ring. And then there's that moment when Nia Jax gets in the ring, like, oh, is she going to is she going to turn heel after being babyface for going on 6 months? And but no, she's remaining babyface. They're still friends.
Yeah. So I like this. I thought this was good. I just think I never really thought of Nia as a great opponent for Ember. But actually, the size difference, just the clash of styles, very much into that.
Absolutely. I think Nia does work really well Particularly, I always go back to the Bayley match at TakeOver London, and I thought those two worked really, really well together around that sort of the size difference. I think with the right opponent, Nia actually looks really great.
What didn't look great, on the mic at least,
Trish Stratus.
was Trish Stratus. This was bad. Trish Stratus comes out and cuts a rubbish promo. It was badly written and it was poorly delivered.
Yeah, she says that last week Alexa had a moment of bliss, but it was more like a moment of BS.
That's a good line actually. And then she was like, "Now it's time for a moment of Trish."
Moment of stratisfaction.
Stratisfaction.
Thank God Alexa came out.
And it was just like joke quotes after joke quote, and it just made me feel more depressed every time she did a line.
Yeah, but Alexa Bliss comes out and they did some jokes back and forth. Trish was making fun of her for maths, which is only really funny if you were following Alexa on social media.
Yeah, they didn't even point it out on Raw. So
yeah, we did a news thing about it last week, and everyone kept saying "Oh, she's a heel. She was meant to miscount." I was like, no, it was just a genuine mistake. Yeah. And yeah, I liked Alexa there. Alexa was like, "You're so lucky I was not wrestling when you were, because I would have cast such a shadow over you and you would have been completely irrelevant." I thought it was really, really nice. And then Trish challenges us to get into the ring. I was amazed at this point that Mickie James had not said a thing, considering the history between Trish Stratus and Mickie James.
Yeah.
And then they step into the ring, but Mickie stops Alexa. And and then Trish said she's going to give Alexa a Hall of Fame beatdown. And Mickie said, "Well, I've never had one of those before, so maybe me and Alexa should team up to take on you." And Trish was like, "Oh, well, thank God I've got a tag team partner." Thankfully, that person was here and their music was queued up, just in case you were to come out and challenge me to a tag match.
It's almost like it's pre-planned.
Yeah, and she says that my tag team partner is here, and it's Lita. Lita comes out, all four women fight. Lita teases the moonsault, but Alexa pulls Mickie James out the ring. And that was it. It was amazing that this show started with 4 matches announced for Evolution. 1 more match was added, yet at the end of the night we've still only got 4 matches announced.
That's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah. Riddle me this.
My takeaway from this is Mickey's going to work the majority of the match.
Well, yeah.
Jesus. This is going to be no good in the ring. Well, but James is very good.
It looks like that Alexa is still hurt, because that's why she's not been in the ring since Hell in a Cell. And
maybe that's why they did the change.
And this is a way to because this was meant to be 2 singles matches. It was meant to be Alexa and Trish versus Mickie and versus Lita, but they've now turned that into a tag match. And it might just be to keep Alexa on the apron and not work too much of the match. So that's certainly a possibility. I don't know if that is the case, but it's certainly a possibility.
Yeah, well that makes sense, and it kind of makes whatever Bliss's injury is sound a bit more severe.
Yeah, and it's although it's really funny as well that a lot of people were saying about this show is man, the show opened with DX challenging Kane and The Undertaker, and then later on in the night there was a segment that was built around Mickie James, Trish Stratus and Lita. It really did feel like I'd tuned into Raw from 2006.
Or maybe Raw from 2013, because next up we got The Shield doing the old school promo. I love this.
Picking
the camera starts on the floor. It's black and white. There's the little grainy lines going across the screen horizontally. And yeah, they pick it up and they cut a promo. Great delivery. And you know what I love? They're looking straight into the camera, because it just makes it feel more intimidating.
Well,
that's what you want.
Absolutely,
rather than looking slightly off camera or to an interviewer who's not in shot.
Yeah. So me and Fakador were talking about this in the NXT review, which we're now doing on a weekly basis thanks to our Patreon pledge hammers.
Cheers, guys.
You should go and watch that review as well. It's good fun. One of the things we were talking about that we really like about NXT is that they do have backstage interview segments with Kathy Kelly, who I'm almost certain is an angel, and they're doing a sort of interview segments with that. But they also have people doing their own backstage segments where they just talk to the camera, but each one of them feels unique. So the Undisputed Era always have this sort of grating around them, like Adam Cole hanging off one of them. Nikki Cross cut a promo where she's kind of in this sort of smoky hallway. Sanity, when they were on NXT, used to be around like this burning bin, like they were homeless people. And everyone has just got their own sort of individual places that they cut these promos in, and it makes everyone feel unique and different. And that's a good thing. Problem is, when you do everyone just doing interviews with Kayla or Charlie or whoever, and they just say the same thing, Like, it's instantly forgettable because they're just saying the same words that everyone else does in the same tone of voice.
And that you really need to maximize every single second you have on WWE TV to get over your character. And if you're flattened into the same format as everyone else, that's not going to be as effective as not just cutting the promo in your own style, but the whole shot and the set dressed according to your character.
I completely agree.
Loved the Shield promo.
So how did you feel about the next segment?
I gave up on this last week. I've let it go. Shanti,
Yeah.
It's past.
Well, let's recap this story thus far, shall we?
Okay, so Bobby Roode and Chad Gable become a tag team. The idea is Chad Gable is really keen. Bobby Roode feels like he's found his meal ticket because they start winning matches together and Bobby doesn't have to do much. They beat the Ascension once, twice, and then Chad Gable faces Victor from the Ascension.
Connor.
No, he faces Victor in a singles match first.
Oh, I forgot about this bit.
And Chad beats Victor. But then he faces Connor. And Connor beats him. So last week, Bobby Roode was like, okay, I'll face Connor. Connor beats him. So how can they beat them? Let's do a tag match. Wait a second, they've already done this twice right at the start of the feud. So it's a story told out of order. If you told it from the Chad Gable Victor singles match, that makes perfect sense and it's actually intriguing. But here, no. But they won in the tag match. Yeah, because it tells a story of both guys being more effective together. But we already know we already know the payoff.
Yeah.
And we've seen it.
Yeah.
Twice.
And Connor cuts a promo beforehand because they're pushing him as the star of these four people.
He got a lot of camera work as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the camera really focused on him.
Yeah. And he's a big guy. And he said he's going to beat them both, crowd chanting for CM Punk, which was booed slightly, in all fairness. So Roode gets the hot tag, but then Gable sort of tags himself back in and he hits the Chaos Theory to get the win. Roode didn't look too happy about the fact that Chad blind tagged himself in, even though that was kind of what they did right at the start. Again, sort of telling the story very much out of order.
I like that bit, though. It was a little bit to sow the seeds for later on.
Yes.
It's just the perfect amount of tease.
And then all of a sudden, AOP run down.
And boy, do they run.
Yeah.
Jesus.
They were on a warpath.
I was scared.
They had some books to write.
Yeah.
And they wrote them. They charged past Connor. Keeley did not take much of a beating in this because they're protecting him. But they lay waste to Bobby Roode, and then they give the Super Collider to Chad Gable and Victor of the Ascension, and just sort of lay everyone to waste, which builds up from their attack they did last week on the B Team.
Yes.
Who beat the Revival. Just to remind everyone that the Revival lost to the B Team last week. So it really puts over AOP. But again, I said this last week, I don't know what it's building to.
Well, that's it. We've got to with all this Chad Gable, the glorious Roode, the glorious Gable, whatever they call themselves, Team B and C, and the Ascension. It's nothing. So let's just not pay attention to that. Let's focus on AOP. They're really pushing AOP. AOP have laid a few people out. AOP now have a few enemies that they can conceivably have matches and feuds with. So, yeah, I liked it. And, Drake Maverick poses with them in a leather jacket still.
Looks so much better when he's not cosplaying as them.
Then we got a DX video package to remind us all what DX are.
Well, they also announced that officially it's Nikki versus Ronda for Evolution, which, importantly, and as my notes for right here, has got Little Mix as its theme again. So it's their track Salute. So Salute. So very happy with that. And then we got a video package for DX, which did not show a lot of their
same thing.
Not a lot of their early years when they were good. It was mostly focused on their 2006 run when they were not good.
When they were turn the channel over right now. I hate this. I want TNA.
I was talking about this on the Discord channel today. That because DX they've taken over the WWE Twitter feed as well. Like they sprayed DX over the Twitter image and like the header image and things like that. I was like, do not be 2006 DX. And I said this on the Discord channel. If people think that the Bellas make you want to change the channel, or Roman wants you to change the channel, those two have got nothing. nothing on 2006 DX, who were the dirt worst. They were awful.
When you think of DX, what do you think of?
Hilariously, because of when I was really getting into wrestling, my DX is Triple H, X-Pac, and the New Age Outlaws.
Same here.
Yeah.
Like that's I think of those DX, or like even at a push, those guys still, like the Invasion with China sometimes.
Yeah, like, and the original version when it was Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and China. Like I have
as a faction, not as just Triple H and Shawn.
Yeah, I've got quite some good memories of those two there, but mostly like that sort of 98 to 2000 era when it was like the foursome when Shawn Michaels was unfortunately injured. But yeah, they were just a lot of the stuff from 2006 with their. Do you remember that feud with Vince McMahon that just went on and on
and the Spirit Squad stuff?
Oh my god,
it was patronising.
It never ended. It never ended.
So immature, like off-puttingly immature.
My highlight in terms of these guys are the absolute worst, and they are really putting me off watching Raw, was when they were the tag team champions and they did a gauntlet match for the tag team championships, and they squashed every single team in the tag team division. They all came down, lost within a matter of seconds to super kicks and pedigrees. And at the end of it, you're like, cool, so who are your next challengers then? Great stuff. Oh, and when they threw poop on Vince McMahon and green goop. Do you remember when they packaged up the Spirit Squad and shipped them back to OVW?
That is quite a funny meta joke.
Inside references, man.
So then we got the main event segment, which weirdly kicked off with Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
Saying, like, Brock Lesnar's still facing for the title in a triple threat at Crown Jewel, by the way. Don't forget that. He's going to become the first ever dual sport champion.
Yeah.
All great. And he sort of goes to introduce Lesnar, but then the Shield come out through the crowd instead.
I really like this promo.
It was good. Yeah.
It was really great as well because it again puts over this idea that we're not meant to like Brock. In terms of, it said, like, Roman and Braun Strowman, they flew to Australia, 20-hour flight. They flew to the other side of the world to entertain you all by beating the holy hell out of each other. And then they've flown 20 hours back to come to Chicago to beat the holy hell out of each other again. Meanwhile, Brock Lesnar has been at home. He has been in bed, having nice home-cooked meals, and then he's gone for a run, nice little run, to a gym that he built himself that's designed specifically for him, and he's having a great time. And I was like...
And he's married to Sable.
And I was like, this is awesome. It makes Brock seem like such an entitled dick that he's just like, these guys are flying all over the world, and they could be doing house show loops to entertain all you. Brock Lesnar is just at home going like, this is great. I'm just going to do whatever the heck I want, and then I'm just going to win the title.
Is it bad that makes me like Lesnar? And I'm like, Braun and Roman are nerds. Anyway, there was
a weird line though, and I wonder. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but there was a weird moment when Corey was on the headset microphone, and I don't think he was meant to be. It almost felt like he was asking the production team a question, but his microphone was still on. Because while Paul was talking, Corey Graves just goes, "Is Brock Lesnar here?"
Oh, that could be.
But he was talking over Paul Heyman, so Paul Heyman was still chatting, and it just felt really. That's me saying it's the production thing. It just felt like a really weird moment, and then it cuts back, and Michael Cole quickly goes, "No, he's not. He said he was at home. Here's the Shield."
Play me off. So the Shield came down for their main event against the Dogs of War. This was a rematch from Saturday, and they had a long match on Saturday. It was one of the many matches that could have had 5 minutes cut and be better for it. But it still told a really good story. I can't fault it for that. This match told also a very good story and was 5 minutes shaved off. Maybe that happened in the commercial break. I thought this was a cracking main event.
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed this. It was, and like Dolph and Drew get taken out at the start, and Braun's really annoyed. He's like, "Get your crap together!" And he's trying to like command these troops.
He's got a great shouting in the ring voice.
He does,
because you can hear him wherever you are.
And it's really great as well because what I liked about this match. Not only does it sort of play off on the angle they did earlier with Braun and Drew sort of having a pop at Dolph for being the weak link, and the storyline they've been telling for the last couple of weeks with that, but in the background, it almost made you forget about is Dean turning on the Shield? Is there some dissension in this group? You were so focused on Braun shouting at Drew and shouting at Ziggler to pull your weight that you just forgot about that whole Dean thing. So the finish of that match felt all more impactful because it made you remember that. Because at the end of it, Drew gets the pin on Dean when Roman and Seth were on the outside taking care of business out there. And at the end of it,
taking care of business.
And at the end
of Michael Cole over here. You get a new haircut, and you're all taking care of business. What an ovation!
John Cena's the greatest of all time. And like, so Roman and Seth get in the ring, and they're like, "Darn shucks, we lost that one." And Dean is just like, "F this." He just rolls out the ring and just storms to the back. Really, really interesting end to Raw.
It's vague, yeah. It could go either way. Dean could very easily just be going through some personal stuff right now.
Yeah.
And he's actually totally with the Shield. But he's going to walk off a lot and he's going to be moody. But at the end of the day, he's going to be there for you, brothers. Or it could be, nah, I'm annoyed at not being a champion. And Braun is speaking some sense.
Yeah.
So it's really, really cool.
Really interesting.
And the match itself was really good.
Yeah, it was really,
Roman
really
did,
good.
Like, it went about 5 minutes of normal WWE paint by numbers stuff. And then it just went chaotic with Roman doing his great dive over the top rope.
Impressive.
There was a great bit. So it was like everyone pairs off. I'm not so into Roman and Braun, but when Drew and Dean get together and start tussling, I love that. And when Dolph and Seth get together and start tussling, that's also brilliant.
Yeah.
And there was a bit where Seth and Dolph suplexed each other over the top rope to the outside.
Yeah.
Which I love that spot. It's very rarely done.
It was really cool. And like Roman hits a spear on the outside. It did feel very chaotic around, and it was around ringside, and it was really good fun. Yeah, and at the end of it, Drew hits the Claymore out of nowhere for the win. I thought that match ruled.
But even more than the Dean stuff, I thought that the standout moment of the match was when Braun caught Dolph by the throat, and he was like, "I'm angry with you," and Drew just pushes his shoulder off.
Yeah.
And they have this stare down that goes for about 10 seconds, and then the Shield break it up.
Yeah.
But man, a babyface Drew versus a heel Braun. Oh,
Hashtag yes, please.
Take my money.
Absolutely. Yeah, I thought it was a corking main event. So I was very interested, after watching this, to speak to you about this show, because last week, controversially, you gave that show a perfect 5 out of 5, an in-awe rating.
Yeah.
Not everyone agreed with you, but some...
Statistically, we've got the numbers.
Some people said that, they agreed with you, that it was an absolutely corking show. And you said that a show needs 3 really good moments to get an in-awe out of you. So what did you give it this week?
I gave it a high core. So 4 out of 5. A smidgen off of 5 out of 5. I really like the main event. I like the finish. But really, there was a lot of stuff that happened, like people returning, lots of heel turns, but I never thought that any of those were actually... There was no substance there. They were just things that happened, and that's a very Raw After Mania thing from the last few years. And I never give those shows 5 out of 5 either. I'm just like, this was really fun as a one-night thing, but really how does it tie into the rest of the stories they're telling? That's why I liked last week so much, because after this really building, bubbling DX Brothers of Destruction feud, you had that awesome, that was the killer angle for me that tipped it over the edge. When Taker and Kane appeared, Shawn Michaels' first big bump like that in a long time, and then they pose at the top of the ring, and you had all the Dean Ambrose stuff that I thought was just expertly told throughout the night. So that, all of that really, and the opening segment was good too, but I can't remember what it was. That's how good it was. But all of this stuff, like Ronda Rousey and the Bellas, not into that. Don't really care. It's a thing that's happened, and I'll watch it, but I don't care. The Kevin Owens and Bobby Lashley stuff was good, but really that has come out of nowhere too. Not in a good way either, like a succinct way. The only thing that was really a home run, 100%, was the main event and the Battle Royal. So, 4 out of 5 for me.
I'm in agreement with you. I'd have given it a high 4 out of 5 as well. I was actually thinking, after the show finished, I was like, that's an in-awe show for me. That is a 5 out of 5 show for me, because this show, not only did I really enjoy it, it flew by.
Yeah. This is 2 very good weeks of Raw.
It was rapid fire, and I really enjoyed it, and I was like, and it was a really newsworthy show as well.
Spoilt for video titles.
But looking back on it, with the the benefit of hindsight, going back and to recap these things, I think I'm going to slightly go down to that 4.5 thing, because you're right, the Bobby Lashley Kevin Owens double turn is newsworthy, but it does feel like it's not got a lot of substance in there. And it's similar with the Ronda Bella stuff. very interesting, but I'm not that into the Bellas, so I don't really buy into Ronda's plight, despite the how, in fact, I liked her selling. And then there was, some other stuff on the show that wasn't great. The Trish Stratus promo. I did enjoy the segment overall because it was kind of cool to seeing, Trish and Lee. Like that nostalgia buzz for you is good fun. But overall, I would say it's a 4 out of 5. It's a 5 out of 5 for that global battle royal thing. It really should just be like that. Should be the greatest episode of Raw this year for that one segment alone.
It's not how it works, Luke. There's 2.5 other hours.
That's right. So I'm going with a high core.
Well, that's all we've got time for today. Please click the videos that have just appeared on our laps to catch up with the latest WrestleTalk news, and head over to www.beer52.com/WrestleTalk to get your free case of beer. I've been Ollie Davis. This has been Luke Owen, and that was Rambling.